Types of particles. Before we look at particles, we need to mention the four fundamental forces, although I will not go into detail. Perhaps the most familiar is gravity, then electromagnetism. On top of this we have the weak force and strong force. Using these fundamental forces we can create a classification of particles. We can define leptons as spin-half particles that don't interact via the strong interaction. And all those particles that do we call hadrons. These are composite particles made up of quarks. These definitions excludes a class of particles called the gauge bosons. These are defined as the mediators or carriers of the four fundamental forces between particles. Finally we get to a famous particle called the Higgs boson, which lies in its own category, the details of which I will not go into here. On top of these main classifications we break down the hadrons into two further groups. Remember, the hadrons are those that participate in the strong interaction. Mesons are hadrons which are also bosons. Like we have already said, the hadrons are composite particles made up of quarks. In the case of mesons they are made up of a valence quark and a t-quark. The term valence here means they are not present in a pair of a quark and the corresponding t-quark. In other words, they are not C-quarks. On the other hand, baryons are hadrons that are also fermions. In this case they are made up of 3 valence quarks. In the last slide I used the term a t-quark. This is a form of antiparticle. We say that if particle A has the same mass and spin as particle B, but all other properties are opposite in sign, then A is the antiparticle of B and vice versa. It is only convention that determines which of the two particles is called a particle and which is called an antiparticle. We categorize antiparticles analogously to the way we categorized particles, but instead have antileptons, antihadrons, and antibaryons. However, we don't really have antimesons. This is because antimesons are actually still called mesons, or anti-gauge bosons, since these are still called gauge bosons. Thank you for watching. Any feedback is welcome.